My name's Jay Beatty. I'm president and CEO of Fortune Financial Group. I'm an author and a big proponent of cash value life insurance as a wealth building vehicle. Many people don't realize how effective life insurance can be as a wealth building tool. And some, like noted personality Dave Ramsey, are openly skeptical. Watch a portion of this clip we found on YouTube.
All right, checking in with the email bag, Tyler from Massachusetts writes, many people have a long-term need for life insurance. How can you recommend term to everyone? Don't you feel like you're giving them bad advice? Their term life insurance will likely expire when they need it most. Spoken like a great life insurance agent. Tyler, how long have you been selling life insurance? And those weren't questions, those were passive-aggressive statements, weren't they, sir? So let's deal with it, though. I can easily recommend term life insurance as the only thing because the rest of it's garbage. It's a ripoff. You're much better off buying term insurance at about 5 cents on the dollar for the same amount of insurance and investing the rest of your money. You'll end up with much more. Let's kind of follow this through for a second. You'll see what I'm talking about. Let's say I'm talking to a 32-year-old who has a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. Let's visit him 20 years from now when his 20-year level term that I recommend expires. That would make him 52. He would have a 24-year-old and a 22-year-old. They should, hypothetically, both be out of college, both be grown, gone, out of the picture, no longer a liability. The kids are grown and gone at 52 for that 32-year-old 20 years from today. Let's see. His house would be paid for because you've never heard Dave Ramsey ever recommend a mortgage more than 15 years. So in 20 years, he will have been debt-free for 5 years, house and everything. Something to think about. Now, let's see. Would he have anything in his 401k? Well, if he's been investing what I teach, 15% of his income until he was debt-free, and after that loading up on everything, if he made an average household income in America of $40,000, what would he have 20 years later? Well, he'd have somewhere between $500,000 and $700,000 in his mutual funds. Now, let's see. He's 52 years old. The kids are grown and gone. The house is paid for. There's $700,000 in mutual funds. He dies with no life insurance. See, his wife's got no kids, no mortgage, and $700,000. I think she could struggle through, Tyler. That's how I recommend term insurance, because I recommend doing a financial plan called getting out of debt and investing along with the idea that your term insurance is going to expire. And then if you want to keep some term insurance and you're healthy, you may choose to do it. I have absolutely no financial need for term life insurance. A little bit for some estate planning things that we're doing, but very minor. The term life insurance I have is very simple. It's so cheap at 47 years old in the great condition that I'm in, and I don't smoke and I don't do all these crazy things like jump out of airplanes, so I can get term insurance for nothing. And it's so cheap, I keep several $1 million on me extra, just SWI. Sharon wants it. She'd rather have that than another thing on her finger, you know? All right, we'll be right back with more of your emails.
Dave declares his disdain for cash value life insurance. He even calls it a complete ripoff. Hey, I'm a big Ramsey fan. Heck, I even facilitate his classes at my church, but I want to challenge Dave's point of view on this one. Dave recommends that a hypothetical 32-year-old put 15% of his $40,000 salary into mutual funds through a 401k plan and buy a 20-year term life policy if he dies before completing the job of securing his family's future. That way, Dave says, if he dies after the term insurance has lapsed, he'll still leave $500,000 to $700,000 of cash for his family, a figure he suggests they can struggle through on. Now, even though Dave lampoons the life insurance business, his story really has nothing to do with life insurance. Assuming our guy makes it to 52, he's going to die without any life insurance. His policy will have expired before he does. Instead, his plan relies on turning $6,000 a year into $500,000 to $700,000 in 20 years. Now, that seemed a little pie in the sky to me, so I pulled out my calculator, and here's the straight math. Dave's 32-year-old would have to grow his money at 15% compounded annually over 20 years with no fees or commissions or account costs and no taxes in order to leave that kind of cash for his family. Now, not only does that seem unlikely, but we don't control any of the variables other than the commitment to save in the first place. Now, back here on Earth, if he grows his $6,000 a year at 10% in a climate of low fees and low taxes, he'll have $232,000 in 20 years, barely a third of the $700,000 Dave predicts. Now, that wouldn't fund much of a retirement lifestyle or leave any significant legacy for his family. And 10% growth uninterrupted for 20 years seems like a fairy tale to me. If we're more realistic and he earns 8%, about what the stock market averages over time, with fees and commissions of 2.5%, still in the mid-range of what most experts think we pay, and we're optimistic that tax rates in 20 years will be about where they are today, he'll end up with just $150,000. And I don't know about you, but $150,000 isn't much for his family to live on for the next 30 years. Besides, look how sensitive the outcome is to just small changes in the variables. Let me offer a second opinion. If I'm advising that same 32-year-old, I'd recommend he put his $6,000 a year into a properly structured cash value life insurance policy. With this policy, should tragedy strike, he'll leave $528,000 for his family at age 52, tax-free. That's 3 to 4 times what Dave's plan would leave them, with a lot less dependence on variables we don't control. But things get really interesting when we consider what happens in a much more likely event that our 32-year-old lives to his full life expectancy. If he keeps saving $6,000 a year and stops when he retires, he'll draw income out of his policy at a rate of $156,000 a year, tax-free for life. That's almost 4 times his lifetime working wage. By the time he's 85, he will have taken $2.8 million of tax-free income out of his plan, and there's still $735,000 tax-free for his heirs. That's more than $3.5 million of tax-free cash for the $210,000 he would have put in over the years. And by the way, there's a whole basket full of other substantial benefits you'll want to know more about. This is what I want for my family, and I'll bet it's what you want for yours. And the only way we can get it is with a properly structured cash value life insurance policy, the very thing Dave rails against in his rant. I don't know whether Dave digs his heels in because he sells term insurance or because he's just not familiar with properly structured cash value life insurance. I don't question his motives, just the reality of his math. And even though Dave's plan might work some of the time, my plan works all the time. What I do know for sure is that you need to take a new look at cash value life insurance. It could be the most important and valuable component of your overall financial plan. Get back with the person that sent you this video and ask them to show you more. They're trained professionals and they know how to build a plan that'll give you the protection you need and the retirement you dreamed of. Thanks for tuning in. Now make that call.